You're about to enter the Reb Zone Sports Show on Fox 5.
Hey, homecoming, let's go!
Homecoming in Las Vegas, spoiled by San Jose State. We're talking what's good, what's bad, and what lies ahead in the quest to become bowl eligible. Coach, how can the players take you inside the huddle?
1, 2, 3,
Fire up the cannon. We're talking all Rebels all the time in the Reb Zone right now.
Welcome to the house party! Welcome to the house party!
This is the Reb Zone Sports Show, only on Fox 5.
Good evening and welcome inside the Reb Zone alongside UNLV head football coach Bobby Houck. I am Kevin Bollinger, and a frustrating game on all levels yesterday.
Yeah, and starting with me, I'm maybe the most frustrated because we had a great opportunity to move forward yesterday and accomplish some things in our homecoming game, and we'd been out of the last 4 weeks, we'd only been home once, and it was good to be back at Sam Boyd Stadium. Had a great crowd, and we just didn't play well. In particular, in the first half, we didn't do some elementary things well, and it cost us a game. We got down 21 points at halftime, and obviously we fought our way back into the game and had a chance to make something out of it, but didn't accomplish that, and it's pretty disappointing to me.
Well, let's start talking about the first half. As Coach said, it was homecoming for UNLV against San Jose State, but the first half was really a bit of a struggle from the opening kick.
Hey, don't start the beat now, boy. Let's keep rolling this season. Let's go, let's go. If you're going to get there, get there. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Nasty on me, nasty on 3. 1, 2, 3. Nasty.
A red cannon making an appearance at Sam Boyd Stadium for the first time since 2004. But the focus was on the cannon of San Jose State quarterback David Fales, who's putting up huge offensive numbers. Off the opening kickoff, the Spartans drive 82 yards in 13 plays, capped by this Fales pass to Chandler Jones to make it 7-0. The Rebels drove the ball to midfield on their first possession, but Caleb Herring was picked off on a good defensive play. San Jose State scored quickly to make it 14-0, but the Rebels' offense continued to struggle out of the gate. On 3rd and 8, Herring is swarmed and sacked, forcing a punt. Logan Yunker did pin the Spartans at their own 6, and 3 plays later, UNLV gets pressure on Fales, and Penny Vea gets the interception. The Rebels were in business on the 19. UNLV moved the ball to the 1, but on 3rd and goal, Tim Cornette loses 2 yards, part of a rough rushing game for UNLV, and the Rebels had to settle for a 21-yard field goal from Nolan Cohorst. Later in the second quarter, Jared Lawson goes untouched, 31 yards for the Spartan touchdown, and it was 21-3 San Jose State with 4:29 left in the half. The Rebels did make a defensive stand late. Kenneth Penny with the great play to prevent a touchdown and hold the Spartans to just a field goal. But by the half, San Jose had racked up 331 offensive yards to UNLV's 74, and the Rebels were down 24-3 at the break. Let's start at the very beginning, because it seems like the Rebels this year have been getting off to slow starts in many of their games. Is there any explanation for that?
Well, some of it is we haven't had the ball very much to start the game. We've started on defense, and whether we've gotten people stopped or not. For instance, San Jose State kind of threw the kitchen sink at us early on, and after the interception we saw, and it threw a reverse pass for us that we had defended, and the guy kind of pushed us off in the end zone and made a catch. I mean, so be it. We were right there. We had it covered. The guy made a play. So I don't worry about that so much. What I worry about is when we've had the ball on offense the last 2 weeks, we've gone down the field to a degree and got 2 or 3 or 4 first downs, and then in the case yesterday, we turned it over, or we've stalled out, or we took a sack, or something along those lines has stalled us, and we haven't got points on the board. And to be down by double digits, being down 7 or being down 3 is not as big a deal as being down 21, which is where we found ourselves at halftime yesterday.
Well, San Jose State's not known as a rushing team, partially because Fales has been so strong and put up some big passing yardage, but they were able to find a lot of rushing success against UNLV.
Yeah, in particular in the first half. They hit us on one play. that we're going to see in a minute here in the second half. But in the first half, they hit us, and it is simply elementary stuff. I mean, when they're spread out in those light formations, everybody has a gap. If you're not in that gap, that running back's going to find it in the zone scheme. They had a good counter scheme that we had to fix a little bit early on, but we got that short up. And it was just simply us not attacking the line of scrimmage, not attacking our gaps, and being out of it. It was as elementary as it can be.
It looked like a lot of arm tackles, but they had small backs who also ran low to the ground. How hard is it to wrap up when you have backs like that?
Well, it's as the gaps move and get big, this is an I formation football, and there's going to be some space, and you're going to make tackles in space, and their guys are, they're good players too, and we've got to get them down, and we've got to bring our feet, and we've got to tackle. Tackling wasn't the issue. It was more about people not playing their responsibility all the time.
And offensively, it just looked in that first half that everybody was about a second off. Quarterbacks, receivers, everybody just kind of seemed not all together on the same.
Yeah, there's a degree of that, obviously. And, like, for instance, Caleb Herring played his tail off. I mean, he flat went out there and competed yesterday. I mean, he was tough. He ran the ball. He got yards. But he didn't play his best game, and he shouldn't have to every week for us to win. We have to play better up front. We have to give him some help. We can't drop balls. We can't tip balls. And when things aren't clicking, somebody's got to make a play. And we just really didn't do that in the first half.
Well, as we have seen all season long, adjustments were made at halftime, and UNLV came out firing on both sides of the ball in the second half.
Let's go, boys. Have a half. Let's go. Let's turn around. Let's go. Let's turn around. Let's go. Hey, we playing all day, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Go get it on me. Go get it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go get it. Let's go, boys.
The Rebels had the ball to start the second half, and it was clear that adjustments were made and a refocus was established. Herring made quicker decisions and scrambled out of the pocket for some key gains in the opening drive, then found Marcus Sullivan for the 19-yard score. The crowd was re-energized and the comeback was on. Later in the third, Fales is scrambling and Frank Crawford gets his 4th interception of the season. That set UNLV up near midfield. On 3rd and goal at the 4, Taylor Barnhill is marked just short of the goal line. Herring calls his own number on 4th down, and all of a sudden, UNLV was within a touchdown at 24-17 with 17 seconds left in the quarter. Here's a key play of the game. UNLV driving in the 4th with a chance to tie, but Sullivan bobbles the ball, and it's intercepted by Austin Lopez. The Spartans took advantage as Thomas Tucker took the delayed handoff on 3rd and 7 and races 37 yards for the score. The deficit was back to 14 at 31-17 with 10:49 left. But the Rebels wouldn't quit. Going right down the field, Herring finds Micah Mataele for a 16-yard touchdown, and it was 31-24 San Jose State with 8 minutes to go. The Rebels needed a stop.
Go get him! Go get that guy!
The Spartans drive, but were held to a field goal to make it a 10-point lead. UNLV almost made the big play, but Sullivan couldn't hang on in the end zone. Down 10 late and facing a 4th and 10, UNLV makes the right call and goes for the field goal, but Cohorst misses wide right, and that seals the Rebels' fate. A valiant comeback comes up short as UNLV falls to San Jose State 34-24. Well, a lot of positives coming out of the second half. It really looked like both sides of the ball, for the most part, settled in.
Yeah, we need to do that for 60 minutes. We went in and changed a couple of minor things at halftime, like we always do, and came out and played better. One of the things we did is played more gap sound on defense. Offensively, we were a little bit more sharp and crisp. Being down 21, we had to throw it a little more than we wanted to. We'd like to be more balanced, and we lost some of our balance on that side of the ball because of the score. But our guys, we're beyond the giving in and saying, it's not our day. I mean, they're going to fight back and fight for 60 minutes, and that's what we did. We had a couple chances to tie it and maybe win it, and we didn't quite get that accomplished, which is a dang shame. But it goes back more to the first half and putting ourselves behind the 8 ball.
Two key stats out of the game. UNLV with a season-low 86 rushing yards, and both of the interceptions were turned into touchdowns by San Jose State.
Yeah, the turnovers on the interceptions were really negative for us. And then again, I think the rushing yards are skewed a bit. Yards per carry isn't good enough, though, so we didn't run it effectively enough when we did have the option of doing that. And we can't be putting ourselves in that situation.
If I had told you before this game that you would hold David Fales to 150 passing yards, what would you have said?
We win. David Fales came in as one of the hottest quarterbacks in the country. I mean, maybe the hottest. I mean, in terms of the yards and completion percentage. And we picked him off twice and had, as you just saw, probably had 2 or 3 more chances at it. He was 50%. He was 15 out of 30 for 150 yards. I mean, that's a winning effort. And our secondary guys played their tail off. I was impressed with the way they played. We got to put a complete game together.
Well, we want to talk a little more about this. Straight ahead in the Reb Zone, the players are going to react after the game. We'll find out their thoughts on what happened. Plus, we're going to start looking ahead to next week's home game against Utah State. What do the Aggies bring to the table without injured star quarterback Chucky Keaton? A preview on the backside of the break as the Reb Zone rolls on.
This Raising the Bar moment is brought to you by Born and Raised, the official home of Rebels on the Road.
The Rebels fight to get back in the game against San Jose State. Quarterback Caleb Herring hits Marcus Sullivan for the touchdown, part of a 21-point second half. It's touchdown number 2 on the season for Sullivan, and it's the Rebels Raising the Bar moment. It was obviously a somber scene after the game outside the locker room as the players talked about letting a good opportunity slip away.
As a team, we needed a wake-up call, I guess, in the game. And that's not a good thing against a good team like San Jose State, and they definitely capitalized on our sluggishness, I guess, in the first half, and they got after us and put up a big lead that we couldn't overcome in the second half.
We can't afford to start slow on offense. We got to maintain possession of the ball and finish those drives with touchdowns in the first half. We didn't make enough plays, and we didn't execute.
Today was all us. I believe it was all us. We didn't play good enough. Like, we didn't make the plays we usually make. We didn't make the tackles we were supposed to make, and that's what happens. And this one kind of hurts a little bit more, knowing that we have so much in stake.
I know you got this question a lot after the game. Was there an emotional letdown after the Cannon game up in Reno last week?
Everybody ran away from me after the game, so I don't know. I didn't ask that much. But, I got asked, you were in the press conference, and I got asked that question, and I kind of refused to answer it because that's me copping out and making excuses. You heard our guys. They're not making any excuses. They care. It's a big deal to them that we win football games, and we're like most teams in America where if we don't play well, we're not going to win. Some teams, they can win some games if they don't play well. We're not there yet. But our guys, they're ticked off, as am I, and I think we'll have a great week of preparation this week.
What are the takeaways from this game?
Well, we did some positive things. I mean, the first big takeaway that you can say, in looking at it in a positive light, is that we were down 21 at half, and we came out with more fight than any of our former teams would have, or a lot of teams in the country. And we made a game out of that, and it was a heck of a football game right down to the end. But and we did some really good things on both sides of the ball. But the negative part of it is the first half, as we've mentioned numerous times today on the show, is we've got to come out and execute early on. And the execution falls upon me. I mean, I'm the guy that runs this show, and we've got to execute. And it's my fault when we don't execute well enough, and we're going to work hard on that this week.
Well, on to the next one, and it doesn't get any easier as Utah State rolls into Las Vegas for a 5 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. The Aggies lost their number one weapon, but that hasn't seemed to slow them down much. Coming into the season, whenever someone talked about Utah State, they talked about Chucky Keaton. But on October 4th against BYU, Keaton tore the ACL and MCL in his left knee, and the quarterback was lost for the year. Many put the Aggies on ice, but they have put together back-to-back wins in the last 2 weeks, led by freshman quarterback Darryl Garrettson, who threw for 370 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 47-10 win against Hawaii yesterday. Statistically, Utah State is balanced and in the top third in the country, averaging just over 250 passing yards, 211 rushing yards, and 35 points a game. Defensively, the Aggies are only giving up 20 points a game. First-year head coach Matt Wells likes what his team brings to the table.
A team that's a disciplined team that plays fast and they play hard, they play smart, and they enjoy playing the game.
At 4-1 in conference play, Utah State is in contention to get into the Mountain West Championship game and need one more win for bowl eligibility. With a bye week after the Rebels, UNLV will get the Aggies' best shot on Saturday. Well, so much focus on this team has been on Chucky Keaton over the last year and a half especially, but there are a lot of good athletes on this Aggie football team.
There are. You know, Chucky Keaton's a great player, and you know, we hope he gets well, and you know, it's a devastating injury, but he'll come back because he's a champ, and that's just how he's wired. But Utah State's not just Chucky Keaton. Obviously, their freshman quarterback set a freshman record yesterday for yards and touchdowns and all kinds of things. And we've seen them in the cut-ups. I haven't watched a lot of them yet, obviously, but they play hard. They're very, very good on the offensive side of the ball up front. I mean, their offensive line is, I would say, is easily the best in our conference. No offense to anybody else, including our guys, but I think Utah State's offensive line, from what I've seen, is the best in our conference. And good athletes on defense, had guys that are highly regarded around the country at every level on their defense. So we've got our hands full with these guys.
And they run a balanced offensive attack, which sometimes makes it tougher to prepare.
Well, they do. They can run it, they can throw it, and again, that kind of comes from their offensive line being as good as they are. And they've got good backs, good receivers, so a lot of weapons for us to contend with.
All right, we're going to switch gears right now in the Reb Zone to basketball, where the Running Rebels had a rough start to their exhibition season. Up next, we're going to show you what happened, plus have an update to an injury to a key player, and hear what the players had to say afterwards. We're back in 2 minutes.
You're watching the Reb Zone Sports Show on Fox 5.
Time to talk a little hoops in the Reb Zone, where the Running Rebels had their exhibition opener Friday night against Dixie State. Now, one thing that fans found out that head coach Dave Rice already knew: this team is a work in progress. The fireworks and vibe were back inside the T&M as the new-look Running Rebels took the floor against Dixie State. Dave Rice has only 5 returning players and 2 starters from last year's team, and the unfamiliarity with each other in game situations showed throughout with communication and shot selection. 11 players logged minutes, and call it nerves, rust, or youth, but UNLV shot only 35% from the floor and missed 14 free throws in a 71-70 loss to Dixie State. The biggest concern out of this game, junior leader Bryce DeJean-Jones, who pulled up with a hamstring injury and told the trainers that it popped. He left in the first half and did not return. The absence of BDJ showed his importance as UNLV struggled throughout. But exhibitions don't count on your record, and the Running Rebels are by no means pressing the panic button.
We're a great team. You know, we got great players. We got a lot of depth. So, you know, we're not that concerned, you know. But, you know, we definitely are, you know, aware, and then we on point of like, okay, you know, the season's here. Like, let's get it going now.
All right, DeJean-Jones' status is uncertain as they move into next week, where they have an exhibition game on Tuesday night against Adams State, and then the season opener against Portland State at the Thomas & Mack on Friday. And the next time you go to the T&M, check out the new statue of legendary coach and Hall of Famer Jerry Tarkanian, which was dedicated on Wednesday.
It is my honor and pleasure to officially dedicate the Jerry Tarkanian Legacy Statue on this 30th day of October 2013.
Immortalization. Jerry Tarkanian already had it at UNLV and in the basketball world after his recent induction into the Hall of Fame. Now there's a piece of art for generations to come to feel close to greatness.
Beautiful statue is a lasting tribute, and I am very appreciative
Coach Tark was all smiles, taking pictures. In declining health, his wife Lois says this has been a boost.
He's very excited about it all. He can't voice it loudly, but he's very excited about it all, and he feels very, very honored. He said to me, who would have thought all of this? From a little guy that, we started with nothing.
It's just a great, iconic figure and such a well-deserved honor for the entire Tarkanian family and UNLV.
Artist Brian Hanlon said the idea began as a sketch on a napkin before the vision became reality.
I think that brings about its spiritual fitness as a work of art, that the public is invited into the piece. It's not just for viewing, it's for experiencing.
It's exciting that we can have this right here between the Thomas and Mack Center and the Mendenhall Center, and what that means in terms of past tradition and what we're trying to build here in the future.
From the towel to the championship ring to the stoic presence, Tark the Shark will now live on, and it's touched his heart.
I love you all and am deeply grateful.
We're going to take one final break, but before we go, let's look at how other teams in the Mountain West did this week.
You're watching the Reb Zone Sports Show on Fox 5.
3 games to go in the regular season. Final thoughts here as we move into Utah State week.
Well, we're excited for November, our last 3 games, and big game at the stadium this weekend, Saturday at 5, so come on out and see the Rebs play. We've got a good team.
All right, thanks for joining us inside the Reb Zone. Here's your Rebel Plays of the Week. Good night.